Hello, welcome to Cardboard History. I'm David. Today I want to do my official video response for Rick Vintage Oddballs contest, his video response contest, to see if you have a card from a set that John Mangini does not have a card from that set. Now, I am pretty sure that I do not have a card from a set that John Mangini does not have. I looked through everything, and the closest that I could come to think was this 1948 Topps Magic photo of, it is Tinker and Evers, couldn't remember which two it was. 1948 Topps Magic photo, kind of a little bit more of a rare set. However, a quick YouTube search revealed that Mangini does in fact have cards from the set. So I set out at Strongsville trying to find something a little bit rare and unique, not just for the contest, but also for my love of Chicago Cubs cards and players. And I came across something that really kind of falls on the borderline between what's a card and what's a ticket. There were a lot of things issued in the pre-war era that fell as cards, but also served as purpose for other things of coupons or redemptions and things of that nature. So this item that I have is of Gabby Hartnett, and I want to share the story of it first, and then I'll turn the camera around and share the card. So the card comes from 1939, and it was printed by a Cubs fan named George Breadice. George was a huge fan of the Chicago Cubs. He lived in Norwalk, Connecticut, and he became a Cubs fan at a young age because his brothers were Cubs fans, and he always cheered for them whenever they made the World Series. And when he was 18, he went to go see the Cubs play when they were playing in New York. After the game, he went up to Gabby Hartnett and told Gabby that he was his favorite player, and Gabby asked him, he said, "You seem to know a lot about baseball. Do you play?" And George responded, "Well, I used to play catcher." So Gabby offered an invitation. He said, "Next time we're in town, swing by the Commodore Hotel and ask for me, and we'll get you out here to warm up with the team." So the next time the Cubs were in town, George absolutely took advantage of the opportunity. He went to the Commodore Hotel, and Gabby Hartnett came down to meet him along with the manager, Charlie Grimm. And they took him out to lunch. After lunch, they went to the stadium, and Gabby told him to suit up in his catching gear. So originally George thought, hey, I'll just go out there, catch some pop flies during batting practice, and it'll be a great day. Instead, they had him catch batting practice. So after he got some of the butterflies out of the way, he did a decent job, well enough that they asked him to stay on and to be the bullpen catcher. So whenever the Cubs were in town for the next 2 years, Breadice served as their bullpen catcher. So it's a pretty crazy thing for a fan to just go from talking to someone after a game to eventually becoming the bullpen catcher for the team whenever they're in town. He did that in 1935 and 36 until eventually Gabby Hartnett recommended that George try out for the minor leagues. And with his recommendation, he made it into the minor leagues and actually advanced one level before getting an eye injury that ended his career after 1 year in the minors. So George went back to Norwalk, Connecticut, and whenever the Cubs were in New York, he would go to the games and he would be their bullpen catcher. So he was the bullpen catcher for them 1935, 36, played in the minors in 37, and then 38 through 40 he was their bullpen catcher. In 1939, Gabby Hartnett had become the manager of the Cubs, and George Breadice wanted to make a nice gesture to thank Gabby for his friendship and also for the impact that he had made on the Cubs team. So a week before, Hartnett was going to set the record for the most games caught in the major leagues. George threw a banquet in his honor after a game. And so it was at the General Putnam Inn in Norwalk, Connecticut. There was a banquet to honor Gabby Hartnett that was put on by George Breadice. And at the banquet, Gabby Hartnett was honored, but also Gabby presented George with a belt buckle that said Norwalk's biggest Chicago Cubs fan. So this was kind of a cool way that both people were able to be honored at this banquet. So the card ticket that I have is from this event, and I'm going to turn the camera around and we can take a look. So here's the picture of Leo Gabby Hartnett His nickname Gabby was at first an ironic nickname because he was very shy at the beginning of his career, but eventually he became quite the talker from behind the plate and would often interact with the players that were batting. So this was on Monday evening, August 21st, 1939. August 28th is when Gabby Hartnett set the record for most games caught. So this kind of is a crossover of a ticket and a card. It's graded by PSA as a ticket. They show it here as a full ticket, not a stub. But the material here is a thicker cardstock, and it's got an image of the player, so it kind of falls in between the two. It's even serial numbered on the back. From stories, there was about 200 people in attendance at this event, so this was ticket number 171. This is graded a 4 by PSA. There's only 6 of these that have been graded by PSA, and this is the highest graded example, 1 of 2. So I thought this was a really cool card with a great story behind it, of a fan who loved the Cubs and was able to participate with the team for a couple of years and honor the manager of the Cubs while also being honored in return. Thank you for watching Cardboard History. This is my official entry. Rick, if this doesn't qualify as a card, I understand, but I figured this was as close as I would come to stumping John Mangini. Thank you for watching, and hope you all have a great rest of your day.